Alright, this video is going to help you guys install the Zspec Stage 2 titanium hardware kit. So here is the Zspec design kit. Everything has nice labels. Like here's extras. These I bought separate. Tire valve caps with little Z's on them. The retro Z. Strut tower brace, hood hinges, hood latch, and fluid reservoir, fuse brackets, harness. So they're all labeled pretty good. And then there's a picture you can pull up online as well to kind of follow. But I still figured a little video might help people. And then I can't actually remember if the oil cap was included. I think this may have been separate. But it's pretty nice too because it has a cap for there, or a coin they call it. It's double-sided taped, so once you get the lid screwed in, you then put this in to where it's facing the correct way, which is pretty nice. And then I also got this separate for the oil dipstick with the retro style Z on it, little handle for it. So the first one we will do is probably the radiator, cross support, air box, and hood catch can, or hood catch. I've already done the throttle bodies, and you might be able to get to all four of them with the intercoolers in, but I don't know how easy it would be. I got to them with it out. The torque spec on the throttle body bolts, I believe, was 8 foot-pounds. Alright, so I've already noticed one issue in the factory airbox bag and radiator shroud bag. There's only 2 long bolts, and the air boxes each take 2 long bolts. So I don't know if these are going to work or not, because I don't think the shorter ones will fit. But we'll try and see. I'll try and put a short one on this side because it seems like it may not be as deep. But I'm pretty sure those airbox bolts were all the same length. Okay, so again, we were in this baggie. Radiator, cross support, stock airbox, and hood catch. So the issue was, these are the stock airbox bolts. And this baggie only had 2 bolts that were this length in it. So these are already significantly shorter. It's hard to see the way I'm recording it, but they're quite a bit shorter than the stock ones. And then all the other ones that were in this baggie are all the same size, and they don't even make it through the rubber grommet that holds it. So I'm gonna have to email or call them or something tomorrow and get 2 more of these longer ones. But for now, we're just catching the one long one in the outside bracket. It doesn't really matter, you can do the inside one, but we're gonna have other bolts here that are, you know, this nice titanium burnt color. So it'll kind of distract from this one black one. And then there's 14 of the shorter bolts and washers, and there is a picture with certain bolts circled through here, but we couldn't really find 14 that we would describe as the radiator cross support, and then the other 2 are the hood latch area, which are these 2 in the middle. But anyway, starting from left to right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to do these 2, because with the Z1 cover, you can kind of see them. So that'd be 11, 12, 13, and then this will be our 14th. Alright, the first packet is done. Like I said, unfortunately we were missing 1 or 2, 1 for each side. So again, I'll go ahead and count them again for you. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 behind here, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Alright, so the next packet we're doing is fluid reservoirs, fuse box bracket, and harness bracket. There were 2 washers, 5 nuts and baggies, and 2 not in baggies. So where we are going to put these, this is our fuse box. We're going to replace this one, because all these are nuts, so we're not looking for any bolt heads. Like there's a bolt head here attached to the fuse box, but we don't have bolts in this baggie, so we'll come back to that later with an extra one maybe. So here's 1. Here's our fluid reservoirs. There's 4 here. The drawing that Zspec gives only shows these 2 circled. but we're going to go ahead and do these two because the other thing on the baggie is wiring harness, and there's only one nut on the wiring harness we can get to. I mean, yeah, that's attached to the ECU, so, and there'd be two there. I don't think those get changed. Those are the 6 that we're doing, and then we're gonna put the 7th one on your front sonar bracket right here. And the 2 washers we're gonna use on this bracket here and this bracket here on the ECU. Okay, this time from left to right on the fluid reservoir, fuse box, and harness brackets. We've got one with washer by the wiring harness, one with a washer on the fuse box, one on your sonar bracket, and then 4 across the 2 water reservoirs. Alright, so the next packet, turn this light off real quick, it's too bright, is the fenders. And it says, it's blurry, but it says under rubber trim and in jam. There's 5 per side, 10 total. I'm personally not putting these in because you can't see them anyway. So I don't see the point in it. I'm going to hang on to them for maybe a spot, you know, somewhere under the hood that, you know, there's many 10mm bolts under here that are also covered, but you know, you might partially be able to see this washer or something, so I may use it there. But I'm still going to show you in case you want to put them in. I mean, because you did pay for them, you may want to go ahead and throw them in. So I'll show you where the 5 spots are. So basically you just want to fold this rubber back. You can remove it if you want. It's just some push clips holding it in. So you've got one there. Go past that spot that's kind of stiff. My finger got out from under it and I can't get it back in. There's your number 2. Your number 3. Your number 4. And then your 5th and last one is right here at the top of the door jamb. And that's the same on both sides. Alright, the next one we were doing are the front shock nuts. I've already removed the strut brace because we're going to be replacing those anyway real shortly. We're placing those 3 nuts on both strut towers, and I'm going to be retorquing them to 30 foot-pounds because I tested them at 50 and 40 and was getting movement. I dropped it down to 30 and got a little tighter, and then shortly after, you know, so not much tighter, I hit the 30 pounds. So I'm going to be retorquing them to 30 foot-pounds and doing one at a time. Alright, there are the strut tower nuts on the passenger and driver side. Next we are doing the strut bar. Like I said previously, already removed. Pretty self-explanatory. Get your baggie, put them on there. So here's your strut tower bolts. We got 4 bolts, 2 nuts. Washers go with the bolts. Alright, there's the strut. Let me turn this light off, see if it looks better. Yeah, you can see it a little better, at least the color. Woohoo! Alright, so the next one we are doing is hood hinges, hood latch, and hood catch on hood. I'm trying to figure out where all of these go. I'm not doing all these right now because I have a new hood coming by January, and I just don't feel like taking the nuts and bolts off twice, honestly. You're kind of lazy, but that's the whole reason why I'm not doing it yet. But just like the fender ones, I'm gonna at least try to help you on where these go. So you've got, so this was your fender one that you done in an earlier step possibly. I said to go under here to get it, but you can actually get it from this side maybe even. Just past that, you've got one here, then you've got one further back, you've got 3 up top, one here, and one here. On both sides, you've got 5 per side, and you've got 10 total washers, but the washer won't fit on this top bolt on either side. This area is too small for the size of the washer they include. So those 2 washers may get used somewhere else. And where I'm guessing they get used is up here on the hood latch. This has a, looks like maybe a lock washer on it, and a washer, and the bolt. I'm probably gonna reuse that lock washer and then see if the larger washer that these come with fits there. And that could be where the extra 2 washers go. So if we come back over here and we look at our kit, we've got 10 large washers, 2 small ones. You've got 6 nuts and 6 bolts. So you're gonna use 2 bolts on the bottom, 3 of your nuts on the top, same on both sides. And then up top, you're gonna use your last 2 bolts. And I guess you could use those 2 small washers here, and then the 2 larger ones up, you know, up here if they fit, like I said a minute ago. Okay, so I said I was gonna reuse the lock washer that came off of the hood latch bolt, but I can't get these off. They're like smaller than the threads or something, which I know they're not, but I'm not gonna fight with it. I have a lock washer kit, so I just threw my own on here. And I am gonna use the bigger washer, and the smaller one, you know, would be used up under the hood. All right, there's my 2 hood latch ones. And again, I'm gonna do the hood ones, just not yet, because I'm gonna be replacing my hood, and I have Kanjo SpecD hood strut braces that I need to put in. I just don't want to mess with any of that right now. But you, if you want, go ahead and do them. Alright, so I'm digging into my extra bag for now. It's got, at least my extra bag, had 5 bolts and 5 washers. I'm going to be using 3 washers and all 5 of the bolts. And again, this is for the new Nissan Z, so it might not apply to your car. But I'm going to put one of the bolts here on the fuse box. 1 bolt and washer here on the right side of the reservoirs. 1 washer and bolt on the left side. 1 washer and bolt on this ECU bracket. And 1 bolt on the wiring harness. Then I'll probably use a couple of the fender ones to replace these 2, because as you're walking up, you can kind of see them at least under the Z1 carbon fiber shroud. So, you know, I don't know if the factory one will be the same way, but you may be able to see those as you're walking up. So I'm going to go ahead and swap those 2 out from the fender packet. Alright, next one we're going to do is the fuel door fasteners. Not much in here. There looks like there's 2 washers and 2 itty bitty bolts. There's 2 fuel door fasteners. Next is the rear hatch struts. Pretty straightforward. 2 bolts each strut. Rear hatch done. Alright, there's also an OEM engine cover pouch. I'm not doing these either because I have the Z1 carbon fiber engine cover, but it doesn't fit over the AMS intercooler, so I have to trim it, so that just hasn't went back in yet. But go ahead and put those in now. There's only 3 bolts, I believe. Alright, next is license plates. Another straightforward one. 1 bolt, 1 washer. With the 2 extra license plate bolts, because I'm in Florida, you know, only the rear plates required. I'm going to do this fender bolt as well that kind of attaches to the headlight housing on both sides. Okay, a couple things if you attempt using an extra bolt and washer for this fender headlight junction. It's really hard to get the passenger side out, the factory bolt. And I don't even know with factory air boxes either how much space is there. I can't remember because I've got the Z1s in. So anyway, that's really hard to get out. Driver's side was easier to get out. The passenger side though, you can't get anything, or at least I didn't have anything I could fit in from behind to tighten it, so I had to go through the rubber here. I don't know if you can see all the way through there, but I don't want to remove this because I got it all the way in. I have a flexible 1/4 inch extension into just a regular extension, and I ran it down by finger, but now I'm about to tighten it with the ratchet, obviously. But that's how you have to get to that bolt. So if you don't want to bother with it, don't, but you know, that's one of those minor details. I'm gonna appreciate it. Maybe somebody else will too that sees it. All right, everything's done. If you did get the oil dipstick thingy, handle, I guess you'd call it, you have to cut the factory one off. I tried just removing the yellow handle, but it's flattened out and kind of crimped into it, and this handle doesn't fit over it, so you have to cut it off anyway. So you might as well just chop off the yellow handle.